let it go. Keep turning, step around. Keep turning.
And because Jake Paul doesn't know better. He can't learn how to win that front foot challenge by the time he fights Tank. Tank is a southpaw. If he, just like Terence Crawford did against Nello, he gets on the outside of Jake, and that left is coming down the pipe all night while he stays away from Jake's right hand, it should be an easy fight for Tank.
You got a guy, Jake Paul, that's what, 6'3", 6'4", almost? Then you got a guy, Gervonta Davis, that's like 5'5", a little guy. Yeah. Y'all gonna try to, who's 200 pounds, just for Mike Tyson there, I'm gonna throw him in there with a 135. It's just a circus.
Reports suggest that Terence Crawford has been sparring with Gervonta Davis in preparation for Davis's upcoming showdown with Jake Paul. The sessions have been intense, both fighters trading crisp techniques and explosive combinations. Crawford's trademark precision and elite defense have forced Tank to sharpen his timing and adjust to new challenges, especially against bigger opponents like Jake. Fans are buzzing, convinced that working with a pound-for-pound great like Crawford could give Davis a serious edge heading into the fight.
Close up. Gotta let it go. Keep turning, step around. Turn.
The Wade Concept podcast host noted a clear shift in Gervonta Davis's mindset and intensity as he gears up for his fight with Jake Paul. He explained that Tank's recent sparring sessions and gym work show a new level of focus and urgency, far beyond what fans have seen before. In previous camps, Davis often carried a relaxed, playful energy, but this time, his all business. Every punch, drill, and movement is fueled by determination to silence doubters who dismiss the fight as mere spectacle. According to the host, Tank is training with a ruthless purpose, not just to win, but to finish Jake Paul emphatically. His workouts are explosive, his footwork sharper, and his combinations heavier, all designed to erase any advantage Jake's size might offer. The message Davis is sending is clear. Dominance comes from skill and will, not just physical stature.
That's how you get better. But Jake's, obviously sparring smaller guys. Seeing not only what weapons they bring to a sparring session because, they're not as big in stature. There's going to be a 60-pound weight difference probably. Actually, a little bit of update on that today as well. Tank's looking a little bigger than I've normally seen him. We'll talk about that in a second. But obviously, Jake is going to work with some of the better guys in the smaller weight classes to get prepared for what Tank could potentially bring. Now, Tank is a one-of-one in that respect, so it's difficult sometimes to prepare yourself in that same way. But on that same note, we have a couple new things out from Tank Davis. Number one, it's not necessarily new, but the last kind of work we've seen from Tank, just in general, is this video right here. Just chopping the bag, turning over shots. Chopping to the body, every shot to the midsection. Now again, not to read too much into things, but we go back to this video, and I don't know what's being said here between Ray and Jake, but he's telling him, something with the high guard, don't even do that. I'm trying to draw a parallel between potentially what Ray Ford did to Jake in this spar and what could potentially be going down in Tank's camp that can line up the dots. Again, we don't have a lot to go off of. What we generally think may happen in this fight is that Jake Paul will probably use his size, his frame, and his power to try to land big shots, not throw a ton of punches, and not gas himself out against Tank, who, again, this is an exhibition. Yes, there'll be judges, and someone, I guess, will win, is what they're saying. But does that mean that someone actually has a win-loss on their record? No, because you can't sanction something like this in a pro fight. Tank, on the other hand, who already is a low-output puncher, is going to look to utilize his speed, his head movement, his quickness, his agility, his angles, his footwork, his defense to offense transition, and vice versa, to catch Jake when he does eventually open up with bigger punches and make him pay. Also, he's going to look to slow Jake down and potentially work him into those later rounds to where Tank can still be explosive. And when I look at this little exchange from Jake and Ray Ford, again, I could be completely missing the read here. Ray is either telling him, this is what you need to do, or this is what I was able to do to you because of, we go back here, because of this high guard, I was able to get to your body. Something like that maybe. Or it could be, again, I could be just completely missing it. And then you see this from Tank. All body work. Just hammers to the body. Level changes, head off center, angle switch, all that work in the bag. That was one of the more recent videos we saw.
Showbiz the Adult offered a sharp take on one of the most talked about aspects of the fight, the height and reach gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. He reminded fans that Tank has already conquered opponents with even greater physical advantages. According to Showbiz, the supposed difference between Jake and Tank is being exaggerated. He pointed out that Davis had no trouble closing the distance against Mario Barrios, who was taller, longer, and far more seasoned than Jake. That fight ended in a knockout, proof, he said, that Tank's timing and precision can dismantle bigger opponents. Showbiz argued that while Jake might hold a size advantage, he doesn't possess the defensive instincts or ring IQ of true professionals like Barrios. Once Tank locks into his rhythm, Showbiz believes he'll not only erase Jake's reach, but also use it against him.
Look at that. Did he reach him? He sure did. Look at the height, 6 feet and 6'1". The height comparison ain't much different. And the thing is, if you look at him, the thing is, look at how Tank shows that he can reach him. See that push? Look where Tank's hand is. Look at where Jake's chin is. He can reach him. In reaching him, though, can he hurt him? The gloves are big. You get what I'm saying? Jake Paul is a big guy. They're going to be fighting at 195. When Jake Paul gets in the ring, he's going to be 200 plus. Right? He may be around 210. Think Jake's going night-night? Okay. Tank studying? Okay. Let's look at Tank. That was just a couple days ago. They captured that just a couple days ago, him training for Jake. Of course, that's a 300-pound boxing heavy bag, 300 pounds. So he's swinging it. Let's look at Gervonta and look at Barrios. Let's look at a few highlights here. He can reach 6 feet, no problem, let alone 6'1". Ain't going to be that much of a difference, right? Let's break down what we saw here. Let's think about this. Let's think about it. Now that we know he's reaching, let's think about this. Who's a more skillful fighter, Barrios or Jake Paul? Ain't even a damn question. Barrios a far more skillful fighter than Jake. Who has better reflexes, Barrios or Jake Paul? Barrios. Barrios has better reflexes. Okay.
Terence Crawford offered a measured and insightful perspective on the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul matchup. He acknowledged Tank's exceptional power, speed, and ring instincts, but also gave credit where it's due. Jake's size makes him a legitimate threat. According to Crawford, the fight could go either way depending on how each fighter plays to his strengths. Davis brings explosiveness, precision, and knockout power, while Jake holds the advantages in height, reach, and durability. Crawford noted that if Tank lands clean, Jake could be in serious trouble, but if Jake maintains his range and controls the pace with his jab, he could make things very challenging. It was a balanced take from a champion who understands that skill can dominate, but size and strategy can still change everything.
Tank is very talented, punch hard, explosive, whole 9 yards, but he's too big for Tank. In reality, he's way too big for Tank. I think Jake by you.
Recent training footage of Gervonta Davis has left fans stunned. Tank is seen unleashing blistering combinations on the heavy bag, his speed, power, and precision on full display. Each punch echoes through the gym, a reminder of just how dangerous he can be when fully locked in. His focus is razor sharp, his rhythm flawless, and his conditioning clearly at its peak. Every strike feels like a warning shot to Jake Paul, Tank isn't coming to participate, he's coming to dominate. Against a naturally bigger opponent, Davis looks determined to prove that skill, power, and willpower outweigh size every time. The same time, several boxing analysts have weighed in on the unusual nature of Davis versus Paul, arguing that the matchup straddles the line between legitimate boxing and entertainment spectacle. These experts, who study both technique and promotion, believe the fight reflects how the sport is evolving, where hype, fame, and competition now intertwine. While traditionalists criticize it for diluting boxing's purity, others see it as the new era of combat sports, where attention and performance combine to capture global audiences.
Fights like this, with fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser, because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career, and for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him, and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has everything his way.
Former world champion Chris Algieri, known for his sharp boxing IQ and balanced analysis, praised Jake Paul for redefining how boxing connects with today's audience. He explained that Jake has injected new life into a sport that was slowly losing its mainstream spark. According to Algieri, Jake's rare ability to draw in both influencers and seasoned professionals highlights his unmatched promotional influence. Rather than relying on traditional legacies or championship belts, Jake has built his appeal through personality, showmanship, and storytelling, making boxing exciting and relevant again for a younger generation that had largely tuned out.
Nothing to do with him. Let's go with the Jake Paul route, which is, again, mostly win-win for him. It's more win-win for Jake, but it's mostly win-win for him.
Right. So what does Gervonta Davis?
Whoa, hold on. I got to respond.
That's what I want.
I didn't even get to talk.
Please.
So, what has he done for the sport? I mean, manufactured or not, he went out there and he performed and he got knockouts and people tuned in. Boxing fans tuned in. And you talk about that shoe fight and that shoe, they're not boxing fans. Gervonta Davis sold pay-per-views to boxing fans. And he got boxing fans to come to fights, which is so needed. Desperately needed.
They marketed him that way. You can market anybody. You can market it that way. You can market it that way. And champ, you should know better because you and I were very marketable and never got any marketing except as opponents for high-level fighters. And you should know that. They talk about great white hypes and all this other stuff. No, that's absolutely not true. They manufacture what they want to manufacture. Shakur Stevenson can be marketable. He's not ghetto enough. Andre Ward was very marketable. He's not ghetto enough. Why do black fighters only get marketed when they're quote-unquote ghetto, when there's class guys who you can market as great examples? Shakur Stevenson, Andre Ward, so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Yeah, I'm saying it. People complain because I'm too real, and I'm going to be honest. Why could Ray Leonard be manufactured as I don't even want to use the word manufactured because Ray Leonard actually was legit.
Great fighter.
But Ray Leonard promoted as the class guy, and it worked. Why could you do it back then, but now you can't do it? Andre Ward was gold medalist the same way, class, could speak, mature, poised, fight his ass off. Why didn't you market him the way you marketed Ray Leonard? What happened between 1976 and 2004? Why are you marketing Why are you marketing only Thug Life? Why? And I'm not saying, okay, I wasn't a part of this because I was a big fan of the hip-hop gangster rap generation and all this other stuff. But as a 44-year-old, you start to realize the concept of the entire scope of things.